We're going to take a look at lists again. We'll take a look at lists that operate on user-defined objects. So let's make a using system here. And now type using system.collections.generic like this. Alright, let's make a namespace. So namespace sample. And within this we are going to make a class. So class car. There you go. And now let's define some fields. So private integer price. There you go. Of course, for a car, it's more realistic to use a decimal type. But this will do for us. It doesn't really matter that much. Alright, so here we're going to say public car, the constructor, integer p. So that'll set the price of the car that is made. And then this dot price equals p, close that with a semicolon. Alright, so now that we have that in place, let's make a method that will retrieve that. So public integer get price. And we're going to say here return this dot price and close that with a semicolon. Alright, excellent. Now, next we are going to add a class program. So make sure you are outside class car. So class program, and then of course static void main, open close parentheses. And now here what we're going to do is this. You're going to type list and then car, and now we're going to say my car list equals and then new list like this of cars like this. There you go. And then make it 3 long like that, see? So we've just made a list of user-defined objects. And this is of course a generic list. In other words, it can also operate on other kinds of data. Now you're going to say here for integer I equals 0, and then I is less than 2, I plus plus. And now we're going to say you're going to assign values. We're going to automatically make objects, in other words. So you're going to say my car list that add, okay, and then you're going to say a new car, okay, and you're going to say 10,000 times I like this and close that with a semicolon. So this will just generate some cars for us automatically. And now we're going to say for each car C in my car list, we're going to is retrieve the price. So console.writeLine and the price of the car is, and then here you can say a placeholder like this, period, and then put a comma and then c.getPrice and close out with a semicolon. There you go. So, and of course at the end do a console.readKey or something along those lines. So console.readKey looks like this. Okay, so to review, remember what we are doing is we have a namespace. Within the namespace we have a class called car. It's got one field. We set that field in the constructor. We have a method that retrieves that field. And then we have a class program. We have our main. We make a list of these car objects. That's what this is. And then we fill it with the for loop. And this allows us to create these car objects automatically by using the for loop here. And then we use a for each loop to step through the list and retrieve the values of the cars, okay, the prices of the cars. Alright, so let's give this a build. Let's see, make sure it takes. In other words, as you can see, this list, which is predefined, can operate perfectly well on user-defined objects. Let's go with debug and start without debugging at first. And it says the price of the car is 0, the price of the car is that, and then you can exit. Okay? So here, let's go with debug and step into, so you can see this more vividly in operation. It's pretty straightforward. So you're going to make a car list, and if you expand that, you see the first has a count of 0, and there's a capacity also of 3, which is set right here. Okay? Now, then we use the for loop. As you can see, we're creating these car objects. And then we're creating these car objects until the loop fails. And then we use the for each loop to step through the list and retrieve the values using getPrice, as you see up here. There you go. So if you expand my car list, you see at 0 there's sample car, and at 1 There's a car also, and further each of those, as you can see, has a price, like that, until the list fails, and then we wait for some input. Okay? And let's unload this from memory. And that's it. So this is available in the sidebar as a PDF so that you can view it if you need to. Give it a sec. It's taking its time for some reason. Alright, so there it is. So there's the class car, and then there's a class program with the code like that. And remember, we have a list, a generic list that can operate on user-defined types. So this is highly flexible, obviously. And that is it. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in another video.